Feel incredible!
It's not a cartoon, it's anime!
Rob was weak today. What was that?
I'm like, because I take my cues from Keenan and he's got his fucking mouth covered with his mask. I can't see shit.
It was kind of hard to see that Keenan was doing or whatever.
I couldn't feel the flow,
bro.
I couldn't feel the flow at all.
Oh, so it's my fault.
Yeah, you're the band leader, man. We're all watching you.
It was hard. It was hard to know when you started, Keenan, just for the record.
Okay, because I forgot the sound kind of cuts in and out of us. That's all right. Yeah. My bad. I hurt myself and I was like, where the fuck they at?
I honestly kind of feel like we should do this again.
No, leave it as it is, man. We just it happens, bro.
All right, whatever.
Can't nail it.
Welcome to another episode of AnimeSHUN.
Did you do all of that just to take your mask off and say that?
No, we watched a ninja movie and wanted my face covered like a ninja.
Yeah, that's fair.
Boom.
Okay. All right. that was garbage.
I hate to agree with Ice on anything, but
Hey, at the end of the day, I don't give a fuck.
Ice, I'm with you. I'm with you, Ice. That was trash.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
This is a weird feeling.
Well, I'll take having a moment of trash, but Ice's existence is trash. So I don't give a fuck.
That was corny.
At the end of the day,
I would expect
the whole squad is back. The whole squad is back.
I would expect
We
a
got
better
Brennan
comeback
here.
than that.
We got Ice here.
Your
we got
whole
Rob
existence
here.
is trash. Ugh. Come on, man. You gotta come harder than that. That was garbage.
Ice.
That was just as garbage as your mask idea. You was like, I'm about to kill him right now. I'm about to come on there with this mask.
I didn't act like I was
and I'm
gonna do anything.
pull it off and say, welcome to another episode. That bullshit out of here, bro. That was trash.
It's good to see you guys, man. It's been a while.
I was supposed to get his proved himself as a terrible roaster. He just tried to roast and nobody gave him anything.
I did.
Anyways,
you tried to come. Your comeback was your whole existence is trash.
I don't feel like dealing with you, man.
That was garbage. Come harder than that, bro. That was trash.
Both of y'all just took an L. And I'm really excited because this week we are actually playing with Ninja Scroll, which is a classic anime that came out in 1993. Now, if you talk to any like OG people in anime, like this is the one that I get made fun of more than anything else. That's why I was really happy to be watching it because like everybody's like, every time I'm like, I do an anime podcast, like, and anybody that's over the age of like 35 or 40 is always just like, so like, what'd you think of Ninja Scroll? And I'm always just like, see, what had happened was I just didn't have anything to say until now.
That's a cardinal sin that you haven't watched this.
I know, but
I claim you watch all this anime and do all this different type of stuff.
I understood that.
It doesn't make any sense.
I understood that.
I've never watched it either, so.
No, somebody's lying here because I asked about Ninja Scroll and one of y'all said y'all watched it before.
I mean,
nobody said they watched it.
I've seen bits and pieces of it, but I wouldn't say I watched it. Like I've seen it like in passing, and I see it like on internet and stuff because people always use it as a tool to say like, anime been on this sexual shit for a long time. Look at Ninja Scroll, it just came out in '93, and then I've seen bits and pieces.
I don't see people saying more of the sexual stuff. I see how people say it's one of the most influential for what it did and what it was doing from the ninja and samurai stuff it was doing in there. That's what I see from it. It's very influential in that state. And I was even reading some stuff about how it was. But yeah.
You see a lot of the influences throughout the show.
For sure.
Yeah. I want to watch the show at some point because it's a show also.
Oh,
this
shit.
Is just, it's like 12 or 13 episodes. But this is just an hour and a half movie.
Yep.
And man, you got any stuff up from the creators and stuff like that?
Yeah. So it was directed by Yoshiaki Kawahiri. I'm gonna go with that. I feel good about that. And he's an interesting guy. The director is a guy this is one of his first major films. Everything after this, I really don't. Like there isn't anything I know except for one thing that I think we all should know, and if we don't, we should be ashamed of ourselves. Is he directed one of the segments on Animatrix?
Oh, cool.
Did you guys see that?
Yeah. It's one of the few DVDs I kept for whatever reason. I don't know why.
I still have it too for some reason. I don't know why I still have the DVD of the Animatrix, but Yo, he directed one of the segments. If you guys remember, there's a segment with like a black dude and a white girl where they're fighting like these big samurai shoot stuff, and they're like in the bamboo forest, and it's like super good animation, and they scrap it, and they kind of get it's kind of sexual as they like take each other's clothes off with the swords kind of thing, and then they buzz forward into like the real world, as in like on one of those little ships, and then it becomes like a tragic love story kind of thing, or betrayal and wanting just to be in the Matrix and all this other kind of stuff. But either way, it was one of the better segments, in my opinion, of the Animatrix, one of the better done ones. So my man got some chops when it comes to like action anime. That's really his thing.
Yeah, early on too.
Yeah, early on. Like I think that, like I said, this is, I will get into like talking later about like how it was directed or whatever it is, but I think he did. Either way, he isn't a super accomplished guy, but this is like his claim to glory more than anything else. Mm-hmm. It was produced by a production company called AnimeSHUN that's been around since 1983. Their discography, or I shouldn't say discography, filmography, I didn't really look too far into, to be fully honest, but it didn't look too impressive. I'm just keeping it all the way real. Like, I didn't really know too much about them. It seems like they're like a retailing arm of Movic, so they're pretty much like an arm of another organization. So they're just like a shell corporation inside of a shell corporation. So it's just like, all right, cool, that doesn't help me. But yeah, it came out on June 5th. It was received really, really well, except for obviously it was received very critically because, as you can tell, as we learned, there is a lot of bad things. But it did win the Citizens Award of 1993 at the Yubari International Film Festival. And on Rotten Tomatoes, it has a 93%, which is really, really, really good.
That's wild.
And it's one of the most popular movies in the world outside of Japan. It goes alongside like movies like Akira, Ghost in the Shell. And they sold a lot of copies. Like even in the United States, they sold like over 70,000 copies.
Do we trust Rotten Tomatoes? I don't give a fuck about Rotten Tomatoes.
Sorta. It depends.
I don't go off what they do. I just watch.
Because I don't think the show is 93%. If I were to go on Rotten Tomatoes, I wouldn't give Ninja Scroll.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot of nostalgia too because this show came out before Rotten Tomatoes. So
yeah, for sure.
Existed. So I'm sure people are just like, yo, this is like a lot of people, this is like a foundational piece of a lot of people's like belief in what anime is and how it came to be. And as you can tell from a lot of the animations, if you look at it, like this came out around the time of like Yu Yu Hakusho, Dragon Ball Z first starting off. So it came out during the original, for me, at least in my eyes, the original golden age of anime. And I think it easily sits when it comes to the animation style, when it comes to the soundtrack, when it comes to the just like the quality of the content, when it comes to art, it's up there with the highest stuff there. So like if this movie came out during that time, you watch it, like it's way more violent than anything else that's out, and way more sexual, but it also is pretty cool in concept. So like I think it had like a cult reception simply because there was nothing else really like it, because it just took everything to 10. Was everything else? Huh?
I didn't watch it exactly when it first came out, but that shit came out when I was 8 years old, and I can't imagine watching that at 8.
Were you alive when this came out, Ice?
Barely.
No, barely.
So imagine watching that at a super young age of like before seeing anime be like that violent. I think my mind would have been fucked up.
I don't think the violence wouldn't have been too bad. I think the more so the sexuality part, probably would have been the part that's like, oh, titties. Yes.
Well, they also announced a sequel in 2008 and released some trailers for it, but it never came out.
Oh shit.
Yeah, it never came out. So like even like as far as like 2019, it still remains in limbo. And it's just funny because they can't get investors for it because the original Ninja Scroll wasn't a big hit in Japan. So it's just like these Japanese investors are like, so okay, wow, international acclaim, but like we're here for this Japanese money. We want that yen. And so.
But like you said, it gets brought up a lot. I remember when Tony Baker guest starred on our show, and I think that was one of the few movies or anime shows that he said he had checked out. You know, he was like, yeah, I've seen that. I've seen like Fist of the North Star, some of like the earlier stuff, but this is definitely one that gets brought up a lot.
Yeah, and
I think all pure nostalgia should be probably remade because their fan base for it is so big now still.
Well, I mean, it didn't necessarily so talk about just the sequel. So the sequel movie didn't happen, but there was a sequel series of 13 episode series that came out in 2003 that was 13 episodes that was known to be the continuation. I didn't really look into it that far, like how that was received. But it has a lot of references as it's pretty much a continuation of the series because, as we will get to, is like this could easily have a continuation because for me, it kind of reminds me a lot of like Rurouni Kenshin. But like the evil version of Rurouni Kenshin. But I don't know. Any of you guys seen Rurouni Kenshin?
Yeah. It's been a long time.
But yeah, like Rurouni Kenshin was like a wandering samurai who was just like, refused to kill anyone and is just super friendly to everybody, but was super OP'd though, like to the point where like he uses the dull side of his sword and knocks everybody out all the time and is rarely challenged. And it's just his skill is off the charts. This is kind of the same. It's like the skill is off the charts, but he's the opposite. Like he kills everybody. And he's also kind of a dick.
He takes L's too, though.
He does.
Yeah, he goes through it. So, I mean, for me, that's pretty much what I got on the research side of it. So we can get right into like what happens because this shit gets popping rather quickly.
Yeah.
Yeah, do you want to go through the play-by-play or just give points?
I think we can go through a quick play-by-play if Rob's down for it because I think it's a little bit. This story was a little bit hard to follow, to be fully honest.
A little bit
while you're watching, especially like on that boat ride with our main character and the old man. But I mean, it's just like for me, I love how it even. I love the start of this anime. Like the beginning, the first scene was incredible. Like just my man just walking there eating his rice ball, and somebody stabs up through the bridge he's on, and they start scrapping, and he lights them up. Tell me that wasn't Afro Samurai like that whole scene.
I was just about to say that.
Totally.
Yeah, Afro Samurai.
Yeah,
it also reminded me a little bit of like what Dragon Ball Z kind of did when on Cell Saga with Gohan when he threw the sensu beans in the air and just chopped their ass up and then caught it again. Like, all right, man.
I love that. I love that. Samurai Champloo did the same thing. It's like when Gene threw his hat, and when he threw his hat, and then he killed all the this is the first episode. He threw his hat, and then he killed all those guys, and the hat came down and covered the blood. The blood didn't hit him; it hit the top of the hat because he knew the blood was going to be there, kind of thing. So, this is a very common anime thing. And also, what's really funny to me is one of the things that happens in this movie is something that you see a lot of people making fun of now, where the samurai does a little thing where he just like opens and closes the sword, and then everything just falls apart.
Chopped up.
That happens.
It's so ridiculous, man, but I love it.
I love it too. It's just like, and then it's just like everything's dead, like and split to pieces perfectly. Just like, don't fuck with a samurai, or apparently a ninja in this movie.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, after that, like, Rob, do we want to go through it, or like, how do you feel?
Yeah, sure. I mean, right after that's basically it starts off with that short scene to kind of just introduce the main character, Jubei, and from there kind of gets into the main plot, where they start off with like a pan across this village, like everybody's sick and dying. One person, like this girl, manages to crawl her way out of town and finds a couple of guys that are repairing a nearby barn, and from the next town over, and we see this like guy in the shadows sort of like controlling her, like puppeting her almost, and telling her to say these things where she's just like, yeah, this nearby village just like basically fell victim to a plague and everybody's dead there, everybody is dead, and then she just falls over and that's it for her. And that of course sends everybody into a panic. Like hey, I mean, we're experiencing that right now. They throw up a fucking quarantine around that village real quick. They like close the road down. They're sending everybody around just trying to get people out of there.
A little bit timely. When I was watching this, I'm just like, wow, okay, epidemics.
For sure. And nearby, like one of the local, I guess, clans, you've got, somebody reporting to the leader who's just like, hey, so we've heard about this, this plague that's going down, but also there were these riders in a storm that came nearby, passed through that town like just the night before. There could be something going on about that. And the guy in charge at first is like, nah, don't look into that. Actually, on second thought, why don't you go check that out? And that seemed weird to me at first. I think that comes back around later, but he does end up sending his ninja clan to go check out what's going on in this village to get to the bottom of it. Is this really some sort of thing? Trump. Oh, for sure. Yeah.
He gave me a lot of Donald Trump vibes.
Yeah. He was dubious leadership, you know. Yeah, not really sure he had the right things in mind. But so the guys, all of the ninja people are getting together, getting their shit ready, you know, doing the warm up speech in the locker room. Like, all right, guys, we got a job tonight. And in the middle of this meeting, this woman busts in and she like cuts her hair in front of him, just like, yo, I'm going with you. And they're like,
so
you're the
hold
food
on.
taster.
You can't just pass by that. In Japanese culture, it's a really big deal for anyone, woman or man. Just like we saw when we watched Princess Mononoke. You remember the prince, when he had to leave his town, what he had to do was cut his hair off. In Japanese culture, cutting your hair, it has a real cultural significance to it, especially back then. I don't understand the full cultural significance, but they always make it a big deal in anime. If somebody's like, all right, it's pretty much like, caution to the wind, I'm cutting my hair. And everybody's like, oh, like, it's like a big thing. So just putting it out there. Please continue.
That's what Mulan did.
She did. Yeah, definitely. But that is Chinese culture. But, you know, I definitely, you know, Pan-Asian sort of thing, it seems to be. It's definitely a big deal. But they're kind of just like, your job is the poison taster. Like, you're there to basically eat food for our leader, make sure it's not poisoned, and that's kind of what you do. Just like, listen.
How do you even get that job? Like,
how do people even realize that you do that?
Well, they would know who she is. Like, they're all part of the clan together. Like, they're all like...
I'm just saying, like, what made you be like, you know what? I'm going to do this. Like, I'm just going to taste poison for a fucking living.
I don't think...
9 to 5.
I don't know if she chose that.
I was going to say, I don't feel like she had a choice. I feel like she was groomed since she was a little child. They just kept giving her poison her whole life so that her whole body became poison. And she's immune to it. So she's the one who tastes the different things for the emperor or the main person. Like, yo, I'm going to have food, taste my food before I eat it to make sure there's no poison. Because she knows what poison tastes like and feels like. And can deal with it.
And we find out later...
Like a little
kilowatt over here.
Yeah, kilowatt kind of stuff.
But we find out later that this is a very small clan. So they're like very utility based. Like everybody's got a role. There's no fat on the bones of this place. Like because they're barely getting by. I mean, we find out that like later on that they're just like... It's just them. They can't really get too involved in shit. So like it is one of those things where if you're born into this clan, you have a job. Like, probably starting off very young. And they're basically telling her to stick to that. And she's like, no, if everybody's leaving to go check into this, like, I'm coming to, like, I got skills and I can help out. And basically their leader's like, yeah, sure, come on. Wait, you can come along. Like, fuck it. You can come with. So they're all, like, hopping through the woods. He seemed to be about it. And they're hopping through the woods, going from tree to tree. And they're kind of talking about her just like, hey, like she's pretty beautiful. Like too bad nobody can touch her. And we're not really sure what that means at this point. I don't know if she was like, you know, there was some sort of faux pas around that. But as they catch up, they're just like, hey, by the way, like, where's like the rest of our fucking guys? There's only half of us. And we see back in the woods, somebody else is getting strung up by their neck, like by these strings. And then soon after that, like there's just this huge blade that's like whizzing through the trees, just chopping people and trees down alike, like no problem. Just like a knife through butter.
And these dudes are getting annihilated. That sound of that shit was like just scary. To hear that shit was just chopping up everything. And they see this dude and they start throwing a whole bunch of ninja stars. To like see, like to reveal him or whatever like that.
Yo, like, that was dope. I was like, yo, they're literally like they took down the half of a tree with literally nothing but ninja stars. Yeah. And
that was dope, but it took him one little thing for his thing to just knock all that shit down. So it did to me. It wasn't that impressive to be honest.
I think when I initially saw, I was like, damn, that's pretty hard because they fucking blew through that whole tree with all them ninja stars. I was like, they're moving as a unit. Like that was pretty hard. It to no avail, but still, like initially, like that would have fucked anybody else up.
For sure. I don't think this ninja clan is a bunch of slouches, but I mean, that would have worked if this dude was made out of wood, but he seems to have like the stone skin thing and they're bouncing off. Like nobody can make a fucking dent on this guy. And the girl, I forget her, what is her name again? It's like Koga or something like that. Kagero. It's Kagero. Yeah. It's Kagero. So Kagero is like her leader is just like, yo, get the fuck out of here. Just tell him what happened here. Get out of here. Like I'll hold this guy off. And the stone dude like lands in front of him, grabs him by his arm, and just like fucking tears that shit off.
His fucking arms off. This is out the gate. This is like the first 10 minutes.
Yeah. It goes.
It felt like a horror movie. That whole In the Woods thing, like, was a fucking horror movie. He looked like a horror movie character. Like,
this dude is a monster, like for sure. Like I was just like, are these demons or what the fuck?
Yeah, they're pretty intense. Like the powers of these guys, the powers in this movie are like, because the thing is like when you watch something, you always kind of have to gauge like how realistic is it going to be. And this one is like all over the place with it because the powers that they give people is just like, yeah, I guess you're superhuman. You're like not like a Marvel superhuman,
Like Colossus.
but exactly. It's like Colossus would just rip through all of these people, but at the same time, it's just like no regular human being could stand up to this.
Yeah.
Like there's no question about that.
They kept it out of like crazy, but they kept it somewhat grounded in a sense to where it's like, all right, you can see them the way that these people get beat, and almost every single person of that the people that he'll get to, like they're in an anime. Like every single power is somebody that we've seen before in several animes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, very true. But they all get so Kagero is the last one alive, and she's just running back to her town. But there's no hope for her. I mean, this guy's too fast. He's too strong. He manages to grab onto her.
To run, that pissed me off. He said go, and she was just sitting there. Like, bitch, run.
That happens.
Like,
that happens in every anime for some reason, especially with the women. For some reason, the women always stay there and shop, and it's just like as soon as they tell me to run like that, and especially what he was doing, I'm getting the fuck out of there. We can't handle this dude.
The only argument I can give back to defend the obvious sexism that anime likes to display is that this could be a play off the fight versus flight mechanism, whereas men were more wired to flight. Whereas women are more wired to fight.
She wasn't doing either.
Man, you're giving them a lot of leeway on that shit, to be honest with you.
That was
I understand. Brendan's trying to make it for all his sexism shit that he's
all
starting to say on this anime podcast.
All your Mr.
What are you talking about?
Let me try to save face with this one and
hey, listen. I mean, no bones about it. Like, don't bother defending this one. This anime is absolutely sexist.
It is super sexist. I'm not trying to say it's not. I'm just like I'm playing devil's advocate. Just
don't
because
die
I
on
can.
this hill.
No, don't do that.
I have no reason to really defend. I'm just like,
she was 100% shook that she made.
Yeah.
And she has street smarts, as you'll see throughout the anime somewhat. But
yeah. I mean, they had some misguided attempts at making some strong female characters, but we can get more into that later. I mean, what ends up happening here is like this scene brought me like right back to Goblin Slayer. I was like, oh my fucking god, like what did we get like signed up for at this point? Because the rock dude brings her back, and it's immediately like it turns into a sexual assault like immediately. And I'm just like very graphically, and it's just
they spared
very graphically. No,
they didn't do the comeback. At least Goblin Slayer, they had the rape, but they would cut away after But they was like, nah, we here, we staying here, keep the camera right here, like.
And she's like fighting back a little bit, but he's like, "Hey, listen, like this can happen while you're alive, or it can happen after you're dead. So what do you want to do?"
And she was just like, "I want it willingly."
And she's pulling out the knife. I mean, she's trying to, she's waiting for a moment, but before it gets too far, luckily, it was already pretty bad, but before it gets too far, Rock Dude notices somebody in the room with him, and it's Jubei making his way through town, just like, hey, looking for directions. I'm a little turned around here. Like, you think you can help me out? And this dude is just like, get out of here. And Jubei, I mean, whether he's actually trying to help here or he's just like really persistent, I don't know. But he continues to ask for help and instigates a fight with this dude. And he's like, yo, I'm going to kill you. And he's like, hey, man, I see your rock technique is pretty impressive, but your whole body can't be hard. And then throws a fucking knife and nails this dude right in his eye.
Yeah. I'm not going to lie to you. I thought he was going to go for his dick first.
All right, so I'd like to point out one thing that didn't make sense to me in this scene is that she's sitting there and she has a knife in her hand, and my man is yelling at Jubei like, "Yo, like what the fuck, blah 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 blah." And then after Jubei starts talking at Yang, then the guy like starts powered up and his skin becomes hard, and then they start fighting, right? Yeah. Why didn't she stab him while his skin was soft? Like, she had a knife in her hand and he was distracted, and she's just laying underneath him with a knife in her hand, and she's just like
you said earlier, man, fight or flight. She probably was still somewhat shook. She probably wasn't all the way. Like, I mean, we always have to talk about what we would do in certain situations, right? It's always fun to be like, all right, what I would do. But if somebody can break you with literally their hand like that quick, how easy are you going to react to trying to do something?
I mean, but if you're going to have to train the thought to pull out the knife, you got to finish the job. I ain't going to have shock or, fight or shock if I'm making a conscious effort to pull out a knife, then be like, oh, never mind.
I'm trying to give her the benefit of the doubt. That's all I was trying to do.
I think honestly, the only reason I can think of why they had that in the first place is I feel like they had to give the audience some sort of like mental, like, okay, she is fighting back, because honestly, it doesn't make any sense for her to pull out the knife in the first place. Because at that point, she knows this dude's check is cashed. He's put his hands on her. He's done. But we don't know that yet. But anyway, so this fight's going on, and when Jubei throws a knife in this dude's eye, it causes just enough of a distraction while he pulls his eye out of his head for them to fucking split. And the Rock dude obviously is pissed and goes to chase after them when this other dude comes out and is like, hey, like, that is not the mission. If you're hearing it from me, like, this is from Lord Genma's orders too. So that's their boss, and he's just like, I'm telling you, you stay here. You do not chase after that dude. All right, like, we're done. All right, we have a mission. So I'm back on the road. Kagero and Jubei get a chance to like slow down, and she's thanking him. And it's just like, hey, where you're trying to go is that way. I'm headed this way. Like, I'm out. And he's kind of just like, hey, like, are you okay? And she's like, I'm good. Like, I'm solid. So they split off. He goes his own way, and then she, I mean, rightfully so, has a breakdown. And because she just went through a horrible experience.
Man.
I'm glad that they gave her that human element, though, of like breaking down after some shit like that. Because if she just would have strolled off, I would have gonna be like,
They had her strolling off at first, and I was just like, this ain't real. And then when they had her break, I was just like, okay,
At least there's that. But I think this is right here. We get a small introduction to some of the bad guys here. We see that guy who was just giving Rockman the orders, so he's got to be somebody strong. He's talking with Lord Genma, kind of giving him an update where they're at. And this other girl enters the room and is immediately hands all over him, just like, hey, like, everybody's gone. Like, we got the place to ourselves now. Like, I always loved you. And he's just like, fucking get your hands off me. I'm not interested in you. And he's slapping her around, just like, just do your fucking job. This guy's definitely all about the work, but it seems to be because he wants to really impress the boss, because he's got a big fucking crush on Lord Genma. And apparently everybody knows that, because this lady just turned down is just like, hey, maybe you want to get with Lord Genma, and maybe he sleeps with you, but he's also sleeping with this other girl on the team, so fucking snack on that shit, and walks out of there.
She was the pettiest of the petty of the petty. Like,
she really was.
She was just like, oh, you don't want me? Then I'm going to do everything I can to hurt you. And I was just like, wow.
She started rolling his ass.
She did.
She did.
It was pretty funny, though.
But back on the road with Jubei, he's making his way where he's got to go. When turns out Rockman didn't follow orders, and he definitely came running after him, and they have a clash on the side of the road. And at first, he's got Jubei up against the wall, and he's just like pummeling him in the stomach. And we've seen this dude rip through people at this point, literally pull the arms off of somebody. And I'm like, I don't know how this guy is taking this shit. It seems like he's done.
I thought it was about to be a Kato moment, man. I was just like, oh shit, he was getting smashed up.
There was definitely a almost Kato moment in this.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. We'll get to that.
Yeah, for sure. But so they get their fight. This guy's getting pummeled when he just turns out one of his tricks that comes up time and time again throughout this. He's got his sword attached to a string. Kind of reminded me of Baki. Those like they have those like very thin yet very strong like threads or whatever. It seems to be another reoccurring thing in a lot of anime. But he grabs his sword and is able to defend himself for a bit. And they're exchanging some blows. He's actually able to kind of cut through a little bit of this guy. But the dude's just too strong at the end of the day, and he's getting overpowered. But luckily, he starts to break down, and we don't know exactly why at first. But he throws his huge sword as like his rocks are starting to crumble off of him, and Jubei hits him with a hard enough slash that he's able to slice through his hand, and the guy can't catch his sword when it comes back and lodges that shit right into his fucking head, and that's at least a wrap on one of these monsters.
I mean, it still wasn't necessarily a wrap immediately. He still grabbed him, was like, motherfucker, and almost fell on him and chopped him in half.
Yeah.
And then you see old dude pop up for the first time, and this is when we get introduced to him.
Yeah.
And he ain't shit.
He's a back alley doctor for sure.
Yeah, he seems to be a spy for the current system that's in power, the emperor. I forget. I think it's the Tokugawa, era or something like that. But he's kind of almost like a Nick Fury. I feel like he's just some master spy that's out in the field, like just trying to get other people to do the work for him.
I feel like Nick Fury is. Well, at least in the video games, Nick Fury has some skills.
He does, like, he'll when push comes to shove, like, he'll pick up a rocket launcher and, like, shoot the helicopter as it's about to take off and try to stop the nuke from hitting the city. You know what I mean?
Like, he had some skill too, though. He had a little skill on him. Mm-hmm. He wasn't no hoe.
Yeah. But he's just like, hey, like, you just killed one of these 8 devils. Like, they're all in this clan together, and now they're all going to be coming after you. And, hey, by the way, like, I'm out here to stop them, so why don't we team up? And Jubei's not at all interested in that. No. He's just like, yeah, okay, old man, like, you got your thing going on. I'm going to do mine. I'm on my way out of here, so I don't think I'm going to have to deal with these devils. But the important information for us, the audience, is that there's 7 more people out there with the power level, equivalent to this guy. And he already has been handling folks.
Didn't he say right here, too? Didn't he say, like, well, you did a good job, but you didn't really kill him?
Yeah, he does point out that it was actually Kagaro's technique that finished him. And they get into a little bit later, but what it ends up being is that because she's tasted so many poisons, she's become toxic, and anybody that touches her, especially sexually, ends up dying from the poison because everything about her secretes poison. She's just become totally, saturated in it. So,
is there any girl in your life, celebrity, that's worth having sex with, and then you're gonna die?
I don't know. What do you guys want to take a jump at this?
Death?
It's like you get. She's full of poison. You hit it one time, and then it's the greatest you ever had.
No, I wouldn't touch it.
I don't think so.
Unless I'm already on my deathbed, no.
Yeah, and I'll do a rogue. I'll get knocked out, like, I lose my powers for a second, but I'm not about to die.
All right,
and that's regular sex.
You over here, Gambit. Like, I'll kiss her.
That was my favorite character too. Gambit was my favorite character. So
he was trying it so hard. Always just like, yo, Rogue, like, I know we ain't supposed to do it, but I'm just saying, like, we could do a little bit.
If you really think about Gambit's mindset, he was just like really smashing you would be just like regular sex anyway. As soon as you finish, you lose all your power anyway. So it was he was looking at it like it's a regular thing.
No, that is not how Rogue's power worked at all.
Ask Captain Marvel, she'll tell you.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
How'd you get those fighting super strength powers anyway? That's not part of your power set. Shit.
Captain Marvel will tell you different.
You didn't answer, right?
No, hell no. Fuck no. Not a chance.
Yeah, there's no, not at all.
But speaking of her, she goes back to her people in charge, and she interrupts her boss Donald Trump while he's in the middle of a very intimate moment with somebody.
Hold up. I need to talk about this scene right here.
Yeah, go ahead.
My man, they start the scene with this old dude smashing a girl from behind, and they're just smashing, and then she comes up, opens the door, and he's just like, what? And then she explains the situation, and then they have a whole conversation about what's going on, and he's just like, pretty much like, all the people that are with you are useless. Like, just completely disregarded their existence, like useless. And the thing is, for me, he stopped stroking when he realized what happened. But then after he came to peace with it, they were like, how do we make this conversation more interesting? Oh, I know. Let's have this man continue to stroke while he continues to have a conversation with another woman.
He didn't continue to stroke. He just kept his same like sternness. Like there was no he never felt like, oh, okay, this I hit a spot right here. This is kind of good. He was just like, yes, and then make sure it gets done. And then I'm like, bro, you ain't feeling none of this right now.
And he just beating it up.
He didn't even take his dick out. That's the crazy part to me.
He didn't,
bro. At least when you get the information, be like, let me hold up, and then and then go back in. He stayed dick in everything, just chilling in it.
I have never seen a scene in anything like that before.
I don't think that's true because you've watched Game of Thrones. And that
what scene in Game of Thrones was somebody literally stroking while having a conversation?
There's at least 2 or 3 of them in seasons 1, 2, and 3. There's definitely scenes where people are just. What about that scene with not stroking, but that scene with Littlefingers, telling his
Littlefingers?
Yeah, the dude's name is Littlefinger, and he's telling these 2 prostitutes how there's a difference between making love and fucking while these 2 ladies are going to town on each other on the couch over there.
No, but for me that still counts as we're talking about sex while fucking. Like, we're talking straight business, life and death shit.
Yeah,
and the future
Game
of
of Thrones was famous for that. They called it sexposition because they took what would be boring story that they'd have to download otherwise and put it to sex so people would pay attention.
All
They
I'm
just put
saying is,
naked
I'm
people on
not
screen.
going to argue that they
Hilarious.
definitely did that in Game of Thrones. I'm not going to argue with that.
They
but all
definitely
I'm
did
saying-
that.
But I'm talking about, like, my man was mid-stroke.
He
Like, in
was.
Game of Thrones, people be naked. You know what I'm saying? Like, stuff was about to happen, but you still see naked people in the scene and they have a conversation. But I'm saying my man is literally stroking it while in a conversation about the future of the clan and what they're going to do with their plans. Like, I stand by what I said. I have never seen somebody that cold to where he continues to fornicate in the middle of a conversation that has nothing to do with fornication.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying.
I mean, I've technically kind of seen stuff like that. When you watch, if you ever watch just porn in general, it's always porn when a chick is on the phone with somebody having a whole conversation, and while she getting done, or even while she might be even giving head, you like, yeah, you know, I told you I cook dinner, so just make sure when you get off work dinner, I'm gonna be done, and she's going ham. So I've seen it happen. I've definitely seen it happen before.
I'm ready to move on.
Anyway.
Now you want to
Now
move
you
on?
wanna move
You
on.
stop this for the shit.
I have never seen.
Well,
I haven't.
Well,
I
we're
haven't
about to
seen
get a
it.
whole bunch of exposition without any sort of nudity or anything, because the next scene we've got you've got Jubei on the boat with the old man, and the old man is basically giving him us the whole download of what the fuck is going on. And so basically, these 8 devils work for this guy known as like the Dark Shogun, and they're led by the leader of the 8 devils is this guy named Genma. And Jubei's just like, that can't possibly be true because I killed a dude named Genma like 5 years ago. It turns out
Wasn't there
that
stuff that happened before this though?
yeah, so not really, not before this.
Is that
Like,
what the snake woman came, right?
that's after this because I'm pretty sure that's after this.
No, I think it's before this.
You're right, because he gets poisoned
Before
first.
this,
So Jubei's out on you're right, he's out on his own and he's in like basically a hot bath, and as he's just kind of like minding his own business, this woman shows up with all these crazy snake tattoos on her back and starts to hypnotize him, and like all these tattoos start moving.
Put his ass
And
You know what was so dope about the scene? I like subtlety in anime, and the subtlety was when she was talking, he was slowly bringing his sword into the camera frame.
Yeah, I love that.
For some reason, little stuff like that is what I love, because that's detailed type shit. That's just like, all right, he's about to go get ready. To
Well,
go
he knows.
run.
He knows. He knew. He was like, "This is a threat." So he's pulling his sword. Like, okay.
And then how the screen
Yeah.
changed too, and you can see that he was hypnotized without them saying that he's like in a genjutsu or a trance. It's like it went from like that darkness to like a loopy type of dream world because it got all bright and stuff like that and white.
Yo, all I'll say is, I want to just point out her tattoos before they started moving and shit were beautiful.
Yeah, it's just
like
fun.
absolutely beautiful. Like, I have to believe there's somebody out here on this planet that copied those tattoos.
There's definitely I was watching it the other day. This YouTuber, I don't know what she does. She's like half black, half Asian, but she has like a whole thing like that on her. That shit is crazy.
It's
I
that.
mean, what we saw earlier, Brennan, Tattoo City, man. So,
I have no idea what you're referring to, sir.
hey, I'm saying what you sent to me only. That's fine.
Ah, okay. But I just wanted to point out, like, just the artwork alone. And one other thing is the artwork alone in this entire show thus far has been absolutely gorgeous. Like the scenery, the background, the colors, the frame composition. I was blown away, even though I was just like uncomfortable with some of the scenes at this point. That's what I was thinking at this part of the anime. I was like, yo, this is beautiful. Like,
I thought that, but I was like, this is 93.
yeah, it's like all this is hand drawn.
Actually before 93, because they had to make it before 93. So probably like 91, 92 maybe.
Yeah,
That they put this together. I was just like, this is shit. It's ahead of its time.
Yeah.
hand drawn.
I mean, but this is after Akira though, so is it really?
I'm gonna still say yeah. I'd say
Yeah,
I think
I
so.
don't think so. If Akira, I feel like Akira was ahead of his time, but if you do something after that, then it's like you're not really. I mean, you up there, but it's like you really not ahead of the time. If somebody done it before you, you just part of that group that was.
Yeah, I mean, I think they definitely had some good animation on here, but I'm with Ice that Akira in '88 definitely had better
Yeah.
animation than this movie.
Thank you, Rob.
I'm not saying nobody said that. That doesn't mean that it's not ahead of its time in some of the things that it was doing
Yeah,
and the color scheme that it was doing.
Yeah, no, it's definitely good animation. I mean, it was definitely interesting to watch. And as he's going under, yeah, you could see the whole screen like start to change, but it snaps right back like to what it was as like the ninja star goes right into, you know, his arm and he snaps out of it. And eventually, and he goes right at this woman, you know, and as he's holding her arm, like she just absolutely deflates. And the old man's behind him, just like, oh, yep, she escaped, shed her skin just like a snake.
Disgusting. That was
fucking
so
gross.
disgusting.
It's absolutely gross. But the old man is kind of just like, I told you, like they were going to be coming for you. And he's
this
right.
old. Can I talk about the scene with the old man right now, please? Because this right here might be one of my favorite scenes in the whole movie. Is like the old man gives like, yo, I'm gonna pay you 100 gold to be on my team, and and I'm gonna help you do the things that need to happen because they're gonna kill you. Like, as you can see, like they're coming for you. You killed one of them, they're gonna come for you, and
because that dude made an impression of his face.
Made an impression. How on his dying breath, he hit him. He took his face and put it like, oh my god. Either way, like they're gonna kill you is really what it comes down to. Yeah. And so my man was just like, I don't care. I don't want to be with you. And he's just like, well, this is a matter of life and death. He's like, I don't care. He's like, no. Literally, that ninja star I woke you up with, that I hit you with, was poison tipped, and the only way that you can get rid of that poison is by me giving it to you. And the dude's like, bullshit, and then coughs up blood, and it was just like, oh, okay, you weren't joking. Now it's time to get serious. And he runs over to the old man and grabs him, takes the ninja star out of his hand, and then stabs the old man with it. It's just like, now we both gonna die. What you gonna do? And I was just like, yo, brilliance. Yeah. Absolute brilliance. And the old man's just like, man, I threw that other ninja star away, fam. Like, I knew better. Like, this is not the same ninja star. Like, you're a kid, pretty much. Like, you don't know what you're doing.
Amateur, get your ass out of here.
And then he's still holding the old man, and he's just like, and just threw him into the water. And I'm like, I felt every single thing this man did. I hope that my reaction to what happened to him would have been the same. I hope that I would have thought to stab with his own damn shit. I hope I had the strength to throw him 15 feet into the nearby hot springs. Because for me, viscerally, I was like, I feel you so much on everything you did in this scene, Jinbei. Like, thank you. Thank you, sir.
But after that scene, we do get a quick check-in back with the bad guys. After getting defeated, Snake Lady shows back up and talks to the, dude with the thread in charge. And obviously there's some bad blood between them because they're sharing a boyfriend. They're in a bit of a throuple, seems like unwillingly. And he is just like, already telling her, like, you failed once. Like, I'm going to fucking tell him about this. And then he, like, goes to attack her. And she's just like, well, I'm going to tell him you're, like, fucking with me right now. How do you like that? And kind of holds it over his head. And he's just like, all right, cool. Clearly, I'm not the first fucking choice here. Like, and he lets her go.
They on some iron-blooded orphan shit trying to share the same dude.
They are, yeah. At that point, it's a big family. The 8 demons, I guess. But so he lets her go after with the threat of like, okay, like I'll tell the boyfriend about this.
The boyfriend,
yeah, Genma, who we learn about here in this scene. So this is the scene that I was talking about earlier. Jubei and the old man are on a boat, making their way towards the town to figure out just what happened, and. We learned a little bit about Jubei here. 5 years ago, he had been part of this other clan where the leadership had found a gold mine and tried to hide it from their leader. And to punish them, he sent Jubei and his clan of ninjas, then being led by Genma, to go take out the treacherous leaders. Genma, then trying to be, greedy, basically then orders all the ninjas to kill each other, and Jubei's the only one that didn't want to do that, so he kills all of his brothers and friends and all that stuff, and then gets revenge on Genma by waiting for his ass in a bush, and then jumping out on him when he's coming by on his horse and taking his head clean off. So that's when the old man's just like, oh, these 8 demons are being led by Genma, he's like, that's not possible. Like, I killed that dude. Like, there's no way this guy's still alive.
Cut his head off. They made sure he was dead.
Yeah, so he can't possibly be the dude that is helping out with this. But they end up making, they get through the river or whatever. They make land, and there's the scene where the old man's just like, oh, the gods are helping us with this fog, so we can sneak into the city. But whether it's helping or hurting, it's not really sure, because he immediately then like falls down a fucking hill and they get separated. And the two of them end up having like run-ins with 2 more of these demons. This is where the old man runs into the shadow guy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, at first I was like, he's useless. The old dude, I was like, what is he here for? He's not really bringing much to the table. He has a little bit of knowledge, but like his fighting skills is not up to par. and then we see like the claw dude kind of like shoots the claw at him and he gets away somehow. But I still was just like, fighting skills wise, he's still not showing me shit. He still hasn't showed us anything. He showed elusiveness.
Sure.
That's a fighting skill.
Yeah, he's definitely crafty. You know, he's definitely an outthink you. Yeah. I think he knows his strength, and his strength isn't in his punching power. I mean, he's an old man using a big ass bow staff to get around.
But I mean, the Goku power pole is what he really got.
Yeah, exactly. It's true. But he does get it in that little fight with the dude. The shadow dude had been controlling the woman from the bushes at the beginning of the movie. And that guy is just like, yo, how did he dodge this claw? And he's looking everywhere for him. He can't find him, just like his, empty clothes. And finally he takes off. And the old man like leans down from a tree, and turns out he'd been hiding as like a fucking branch the whole time.
Yeah, he turned into the fucking branch on a tree.
Yeah,
he's wild.
Putting his master spy skills to work.
Seemed like they sent the right person out there for the job.
Yeah, absolutely. But Jubei, he has it a little worse as he makes it into the village, and he's kind of seeing, all the dead people around, all the destruction that's been wrought, and he makes his way into a temple where he finds this old woman praying, and she's basically telling him like, hey, like if you came into this town, you're not going to be alive long. And he's just like, hey, like what kind of nun are you? And he turns her around, and she's all like sick and dying, and then immediately explodes into snakes. And like up above him, there's like the snake woman has come back for round 2, and she's just round 2. It's literally just a mass of writhing snakes that like make a face that fall on top of him, and he's in a lot of fucking trouble. He's covered in all these venomous snakes, and he's just like, he's talking shit at least at this point, just like, hey, how about you like take these snakes off of me? And she's like, why would I do that? He's like, well, because you got somebody behind you. And Kagero like has some great timing here. Shows up just in the nick of time, puts a blade on this the snake lady's neck, and it's just like, let him go, like turn up, like put the snakes away, or like it's your life. And
then she has a snake out of her vagina,
bruh,
and bites her, and then goes, well, this is the most poisonous one.
Yeah,
so you're about to die
at this
soon.
point. Yeah, but you see, as she doesn't even blink, she gets bit. She just kind of like. Yeah, like I said, let him go, man. He puts a knife even tighter on her neck. You see a little bit of blood get drawn, and she's like, all right, man, fuck it. You're going to die anyways. The snakes come, the snakes leave, and we see...
when that snake bit her, and she did not have a hint of concern on her face. Like, the snake bit her,
she didn't
and then she was just like, okay, a snake. Crazy. She's like, yeah, you're going to die now. She's like, yeah, cool, but what were we talking about? like I was saying, you're going to release these snakes from my man's over there. And she's like, okay, I'll release the snakes. And, I was just like, how do you keep, like, if I got bit in the thigh, like right on your, like it looked like the snake bit her, like right on a main artery line too, didn't it? It's just like, oh yeah. I'd be like, oh, well, that's, I have different priorities now. I don't care about the snakes on you.
Yeah, for most people that would be a wrap, but she obviously knows that, this is not going to hurt her at all. And they're just trying to get some information out of her. Like, what happened here? What did you guys do? What are you even doing all this for? But before she can give them any information or they can get anything out of her, she's electrocuted by the second in command of the Devils, the jealous boy, the other jealous boyfriend, from fucking miles away. He's just like, you didn't detect the other string I put around your neck. And apparently it's enough to electrocute her and kill her right where she stands. So they're immediately like, all right, well, I guess that's another one down. So 2 down, 6 to go. And they move on. And Jubei or Kagero at that point is just like, hey, like we're even now. You saved my life, I saved your. We're good. And Jubei's just like, this wasn't about a debt or anything. Like, let me help you. And he tries to get the poison out of her, and she's just like, don't touch me. And this is where we kind of get.
She got one of them UFC. Boys.
Yeah, she kicked him hard too.
She did. But this is where we get kind of the full download of who she is and what it means to be the poison eater and what it means for her just physically, that nobody can touch her. She can't, be in a relationship. She can't be touched by anybody. And that's clearly had an impact on her. But they meet up with the old spy man who is just like, hey, like, listen, the 3 of us all have common cause. Like, we're all trying to figure out what's going on with these guys. Let's all team up. So they get together and they're making their way through the town, and they figure out that this wasn't a plague that took out these villagers. They poisoned the well, and that they just got sick and died, and they've been trying to like just scare everyone away. But while they're investigating this, a bunch more of the devils show up and are just like are close on their trail, and the next one attacks them with this. Well, spots them at first with just like a couple of these. Like, have you ever seen those enormous like Japanese wasps? Like they are seriously like the size of like the palm of your hand. Like,
nah, damn.
They are for fucking real, and they will kill you. And so this is what this guy is using is not only his spies, but his main like force, his main technique against his enemies. Because as soon as he spots them with just a couple of them, an entire swarm just like charges out at the three heroes, and they have to run. So they're on their way, to run away from these wasps. When Kagura's
the old man ain't shit. He goes, "Save yourselves! I'm out of here."
Yeah, he is. He isn't shit. But Kagura has a technique that she can use. She has some sort of like magical pollen power or something like that.
Yeah.
Something where she can put the pollen in the air, and it's enough to like distract the bees. At least for a while, to hold them off from attacking them. And while they do that, Jubei spots the guy that's controlling him off in the distance, and he takes off after him.
That's
and
an ugly Quasimodo looking motherfucker.
This may be the grossest anime character I think we have covered. This is like checks off like all of my phobias. Like the fact that this dude has literally a wasp colony burrowed into his back is the most wretched thing I can think of. It's fucking
what's
gross.
that? What's the name of that thing where you can't look at like the holes in a certain sequence?
Yeah,
Like,
I think I have that. Yes.
I have
Yes.
that. And so for me, like as soon as like they were fighting, he like revealed his back as an actual like living honeycomb.
That was sick. It was like Quasimodo meets the fucking dude from 300 that snitched on Leonidas. Like, it was like both of them combined and did the fusion dance.
I fell off the couch. When that stuff came out. I was just like, this is the most disgusting thing I've ever seen.
It was gross.
It was grotesque.
But Jubei's just he's trying to fight this guy, and it's that apparently it's a pretty hard hive as well, because he comes down hard on his back with the sword, and it's enough to deflect it, but it pisses off all the fucking bees in there, and they start coming after Jubei.
So he jumps in the water.
And so he jumps in the water, but the important information he gets from this bee man, from the Candy Man at this point, is that is he's just like, yeah, it is Genma. Genma, like, you think this technique is crazy. Genma has he's got the power to reincarnate himself, and so that confirms for him, like, that dude whose head I chopped off 5 years ago is still amongst the living. So, and he's coming for me. But he jumps in the water, and as the Candyman guy is following him around trying to like figure out where he is, Jubei jumps out of the water, cuts out the fucking branch he's standing on, takes his leg out and drags him down in there. And then those fucking bees start singing that guy from the inside out, because I mean, just like the old man, they're like, everybody for themselves, like fucking scramble, like, and they start singing this dude from the inside out.
Stay here, fam.
Yeah, and the other devils are watching from the outside and are immediately like, they're calling it, like they're not even seeing it, and they're just like, he's fucked, like, and they just watch his body and his head like bob up in the water separately.
That's what I did like about
the next
them
one
is like usually when you have a group of people that's a shadowy figure and you get one by one, but they pulled up together. Like, it was three of them at a time. Like, what's up, bro? Let's go fight these motherfuckers. Like the androids did, like 19 and 20 did. They just pulled up together. Like, you don't usually see an anime. Even in movies where there's a succession of people that you got to get through, you don't usually see all of them together a lot.
Yeah.
And right now they might be 1 for 3 in these fights, because he didn't really win this fight. Like the bees actually won him this fight, and then you look at the last fight, the dude with the little electric wire, he won that fight.
Yeah.
So
I would say Jubei won this one.
Jubei won this fight.
They did not beat the snake.
I can't give it.
He knocked him in the water.
Yeah, that was his
knocked
call.
him in
And
the
then cut
water
his
and
head
he cut his
off.
head off.
Yeah, that was
yeah,
definitely
but
his win.
if he still had to fight him, it still would have been some issues.
What are you talking about?
The bees technically killed him. What are you talking about?
He put a
knew that
beehive
was
in
going to happen.
water.
Yeah, he knew that was
I
going to happen.
understand that. He assisted, but it wasn't his full kill.
That's his.
He chopped the head
That
off.
don't even make sense. That makes
Chopped
zero
the head
sense.
off. He chopped his head off.
Right.
After the bees got to him.
That's
Whatever,
crazy.
man.
Like, you're wild.
I can't give him the full W.
If
God
you know
damn.
somebody, if you know somebody is a
You
fire
spelled my
type,
name wrong. You spelled my name wrong.
if you know somebody is a fire type, and we fighting in the fucking fire pit, and I drag you into a lake, and I beat you, or you get consumed by the water, that's my win. I took you out of your element and brought you into another element that's negates your abilities.
I just personally said I can't give him the full win.
Russian judge gives him a 5.
Right.
Yeah. I gotta give him. He got an assisted win in this one.
Oh, man.
Who assisted him?
The bees, clearly.
That's part of himself.
He turned it
Right. He knew it. Like, he knew that. It'd be different if he did something else or somebody helped him. Nobody helped him. And he had his people with him. The boy had his people with him, and he still lost. And they even called it. They're like, yeah, they got his ass.
The bees helped him.
The bees.
I don't know. So I don't know in the dub or the subs. I did watch the dub, and it's like when in the dub they said something about like somebody shot something through his throat.
He did. He said that that's one of his powers. It's like, I wonder if he hit him with that throat needle yet.
Yeah,
That was
because
one of
once he got into the water.
powers, yeah, he had a throat needle.
Yeah,
He was
they made it seem like one of them shot just to kill him off. One of them shot a
that's
throat,
his. That was his.
throat.
That
It was the
his
bee
power.
dude.
Yeah.
It was Candy Man.
He shot it through himself.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's when he blocked it with the sword.
Yeah, because they were like, oh, that's smart. He brought him into the water. Wonder how he's going to do against the throat needle. And then the bee dude goes, poof, and like shoots the throat needle out at him and he catches it. So that's what I was saying. Like they called the play-by-play without even being down there.
I don't think you should have wrote it backwards.
Yeah,
Forwards and
Everyone had
backwards.
it right.
Why did
yeah.
you write it backwards? You a fucking idiot.
Anyway, we're moving on. While Brennan's distracted. And so they get back. So Jubei gets back to helping out Kagero and the old man, and the bees are gone. And they're just like, all right, I remember there were those 8 riders that came that night before. Let's go check and see if we can scout out where they came
Why did
from.
you do that, Brennan?
Because Keenan is wrong.
What? Why'd you?
Why did I write it backwards?
Yeah.
Oh, because in my camera it shows it backwards. I see a reflection when I look at this. So
Jackass, bro.
Great gag for a podcast.
Yeah. Most people listen to it and don't watch.
I think everybody
All
should
your
go to the
momentum
YouTube
that
channel
you
and watch
had,
it.
you just lost it with that one, bro.
For that, you think this is the gag right here that's going to get
Yeah.
people? You
This is
gotta
the
watch
one.
because of this.
That was garbage, bro.
Because you wrote his name backwards. And,
Come on.
Well, I'm
Brennan,
just saying,
you had it. And then
Keenan,
you lost it.
have you mentioned the YouTube channel today?
not yet. When we get
That's
to that,
it.
I will.
There we go. Just bringing it up, bro.
You know what
Just
I
bringing
did
it up.
mention?
Well,
You know what I did
this
Oh
is-
mention?
God, no!
Look at that synergy.
No!
That this is
set 'em up.
We almost made a whole episode.
What I didn't mention is
Your ego. That was your ego, Brennan.
this is the excuse me, sir, I'm trying to speak. This is the greatest fucking anime podcast in the history of the world.
Hey, Brennan, let me tell you something. I low key think you like it.
Oh yeah.
You say how much you hate it and stuff like that. Like me and Rod.
If
don't
I
give a
liked
shit.
it, then don't you
But
think
I
I
feel
would have
like
brought?
you-
If I liked it, don't you think I would have brought it up? Because I definitely remembered.
I
that he
remember
didn't say
too, but I
anything.
let him do his. I was gonna wait till the end of the show, but then you alley-ooped it, so I might.
Let's get through the rest of this, man. Let's get through the rest of this.
Brennan always does this.
Brendan's got the time.
No, this is what Brennan always does. Brennan will stop the podcast or do something, whatever.
For himself.
And then when we get on the tangent, no, let's just go back. Let's
Right.
just go back and start going.
Yeah.
No, motherfucker.
Right.
You don't get to stop the shit and then be like, just stop everything. Let's
Yeah.
go back. Go ahead, Rob.
You was over there on your substitute teacher. Now we got to stop. Fuck out.
I didn't say anything. We're on a podcast. I said nothing.
Anyway.
Go ahead, Rob. Go ahead and
So the old man is just like, all right, I'm going to do some scouting of my own. I got some own stuff I'm going to take care of. Maybe we'll see each other again. Maybe you'll die first. I don't know. Anyway, later. So he takes off, and Kagero and Jubei end up doing some scouting on their own. So they're climbing up this mountainside when all of a sudden Kagero spots her master from the beginning, the dude who got his arms torn off, just like stumbling around towards the cliff, and she runs over to him to be like, no, like don't go over there. And she grabs him. Dude's like mouth and eyes are all sewed shut, and it's just like this shit is a trap. And the lady from one of the other the lady that we met earlier who was trying to get with the dude that was second in command is just like, boom, here we go. And then all of a sudden the dude just explodes right just as Jubei manages to get her out of there.
You know what I started playing in my head was a Dr. Dre explosive.
Explosive.
West Coast shit. And luckily they fly off this cliff and then
She is a dope looking girl too. I think out of all of them, she got the best character design.
She's one of the better ones.
Yeah.
She'd have that cool cloak with like the claws coming off the side. Yeah, she had a pretty cool
It's
look.
like you can see my nipples, but you can't see them at the same time.
But they go
Yeah.
I was gonna say they go flying off the edge of the cliff and like they just barely manage to hang on. Again, thanks to Jubei's sword on a string. He's like holding them up like that's that kind of that cliche of like the stick that's like holding them on, and he's trying to lift Kagero up, but the twig snaps, and it seems like they're gonna fall, but something catches him off screen, and they're able to climb all the way back up. And it turns out one of the 8 devils is there waiting for him. This blind swordsman is there. It's just like Jubei, like, hey man, you're a master swordsman, like. I'm a master swordsman. Like, what do you say we do this? Like, why don't we have this duel? And so they go at it.
But also beforehand, they have a discussion about like how she pretty much says her life is worthless, and this is when he kind of realizes like, what are you talking about? Like, this is when they have like a kind of an intimate moment.
A little bit, yeah.
Like, it's like your life. She's like, my life is pretty much worthless. I can't do anything. I can't be anybody because I'm just locked in with this poison. And he's just like, nah, boo. You gonna be mine. You gonna be my love interest in this shit. I'm gonna find a way to be with you. I'm gonna save your life. She's like, let go, please. He's like, nah, fuck all that. And then they get into the shits with old boy up there.
Yeah, he gets up. They get up there, and Jubei tries to draw him into this forest of bamboo trees that are right by them. And the guy's just like, oh, if you think like you're gonna get around that, like just because like. I can't see, like, I can get around this stuff. Like, you see with your eyes, and that's your weakness. But Jubei has a plan, and he starts cutting down these bamboo trees using the shuffling leaves to try to cover his movements. It's pretty smart on his part.
Smart.
But Kagero tries to get involved as well and throws her knife to try and get this guy, but he dodges that shit. And Jubei's just like, Kagero, stay out of this. Like, this is not...
You're not helping.
Like, you're not helping me right now. But in the end, he ends up using her sword. While the guy's blind swordsman is coming down with a finishing attack, that knife that had been lodged in that tree ends up being super important. It blocks the blow and allows Jubei to get the killing strike against the swordsman.
Whole sequence was trash. I was
just confused by what happened. Thank you for explaining that, Rob.
This is garbage. Like he was the weakest person out of all 8 of them. Like I'm like blind dude, and if blind swordsmen serve like history serves them right, they're usually with the shits and they're usually pretty dope. But this blind swordsman.
Oh, you mean like Samurai Champloo?
Yeah, like Samurai Champloo. Yeah, and cool. That doesn't make the show. We don't even talk about that. What happened with that guy, by the way? Oh yeah, forgot. Never got to him because the show was fucking garbage. Back to what I was saying. Like the blind swordsman, he was like they was going back and forth. The stuff with the leads was cool, but that whole fight, he went out weak. Like his whole thing is like, why are you even here? Like compared to, it's supposed to be a crescendo as far as power level, and it's like. You had the big dude, the B dude, the snake lady, like, and then him. It's like, fam, you're just a regular swordsman that's blind. Like, get the fuck out of here. Like, you're not even doing nothing.
Low key, up to this point, a lot of the fights have been pretty short and fairly, I would say, to me, in my opinion, just fairly kind of easy. There wasn't a lot of struggle in these fights like that. Besides, maybe I think the first dude was probably the biggest struggle. Everybody else kind of got served up, to be honest.
Yeah, they had to get through them one way or another in an hour and a half.
Too, I was like, that's exactly what I was thinking too, Rob. It's like, there's 8 motherfuckers. Like, you got to get through 8 people in an hour and 33 minutes. It's like, fam, you got to, some people going to not get all the screen time, hence why they probably had 3 of them pull up at once, but still, it's like, fam.
Yeah. I thought this had the potential to be really interesting, but I thought this was over really fast. For, something that this was like the most even as far as Jubei was like on a playing field with somebody. Like this was somebody came to his home court and was like, I'm going to fight you doing your thing. And it was over pretty quickly. Yeah. But they do survive that, and they're on their way out of the forest. And this, I think, is where they have some more intimate moments where Jubei and Kagero are kind of just like, hey. Kagero's just like, my life is useless, and he's just trying to give her the pep talk of like, no, you're special, and you shouldn't give up. Like, we'll find something for you to do. And they run back into the old man, and he's just like, hey, like I found out what they're here for. These 8 people are these 8 devils. They were working for the Dark Shogun. They were using that gold that you had been covering up all those years ago, Jubei. They were shipping that gold back to their leader when the ship crashed, and now they still have to get it out of here. So they killed the town to basically keep it quiet, kept it and tried to make it seem like a plague so that nobody would investigate it. And now they're waiting on like another ship to come pick their asses up with all the gold and try to get them out of there before anybody figures out what the hell is going on. And we do get a quick shot of the ship that's coming in, and it's basically loaded. Like, for a movie that's called Ninja Scrolls, this is like the first time we actually saw some ninjas. Like, everybody else has kind of been like maybe a samurai, but like these are some actual like ninjas coming into port, and they're going to be like running through the town to try and get like all their gold out of there before anybody can figure out what's going on. And while they're having,
the only ninja there is the girl.
Yeah,
she a Konichi or whatever they call it. Kochi, whatever, it's a woman shinobi. That's what this.
Yeah, Kagero. She's really the only one because she was in that ninja clan.
Yeah.
But I forget exactly how Jubei gets separated, but he goes off to do some investigating on his own, and it's just Kagero and the old man, and they're talking about what they're going to be able to do, and he's just she tells him like, hey, when my boss like Donald Trump, I'm going to send off this message, and now that I know what's going on, he's going to bring in all the clan, and they're going to surround these guys. And they're going to make sure that they can't, they aren't going to get their gold. They're not going to be able to get it out of here without my clan getting involved. And the old man's just like, your tribe, or your clan isn't shit. Like, they really can't get caught in this. And I don't think they're going to do fucking anything about this. So, then he goes on to tell her, it's really the only person that can do anything to save this guy over here. Like, he even tells her like, oh, I'll tell you how to like cure this guy. And it's that, they don't tell us right then and there, but it's pretty obvious that she has to sleep with him to be able to neutralize the poison. But while she goes off to pout about that, she gets kidnapped by the shadow guy with the claw, and he leaves a message for the old man. And Jubei just like, hey, like, I've captured her. She's here if you want to come get her. And Jubei, of course, is smitten with her at this point and is like, I got to go save her. The old man's like, fuck it. This is not worth it. We have to go make sure these people don't get out of here with the gold. And they split ways because they can't see eye to eye. Jubei isn't going to let her die on her own. And we get another particularly fucking nasty scene where this fucking weirdo is like licking his fucking fingers and like fingering this girl to like take control of her or some shit.
No, what's really funny is like in that scene, yeah, it's super nasty, but all I could think about is like, oh, you're dead.
Yeah,
all I could think about.
Yeah, same. To be honest, I was like, well, he once again he cashed his own check there. That's a wrap on him. But if Jubei didn't get him, it would have been the poison soon enough. But when Jubei shows up, his whole mind control technique, he uses Kagero to fight Jubei, and he doesn't want to hurt her, but she's slashing him no problem, and. He to try and stop to finally stop her because he can't kill her. He doesn't want to kill her. What is it? The guy has his sword, right? He's got the claw guy grabs his sword and is trying to disarm him, and he basically pulls the thing out and like lets it go, and it goes flying into the shadow, stabs the guy, takes him out. A little earlier than expected.
Easy win.
Once again.
Another easy win.
But Kagero snaps back into it and is like, oh shit, like, yeah, okay, like we gotta get back to town. Like if my people aren't coming, like we gotta stop these guys. She does tell him that the old man told her, this is the only way we can save the poison. She disrobes and is just like, you have to sleep with me. And he doesn't want to do it. I think it's mostly because he can tell that it would be upsetting to her because, people only have viewed her sexually or something like that. But when she comes in, he just hugs her and then just walks away. And it's just like, nah, like we gotta get back to this fight. I guess he's not ready to have that moment with her. Maybe because he's just like, no, when we do this, I want it to be special. I don't know. But he turns away from that and heads back to the town and leaves her there on her own and meets up with the old man. The old man's like spying on these ninjas that just came into town. They're starting to get the gold loaded onto the ship. And the old man's just like, oh, so did you sleep with her? And and he's like, that's none of your business, old man. Like, what are we doing here? Like, what's the plan? And so
gotta respect him for that. He's a real dude. You don't tell who you smashed out here.
He'll kiss and tell. So their plan is the old man's going to go ring the bell up in the bell tower, which will cause a distraction. And when they're all distracted by that, Jubei will sneak on the ship and try to deal with Genma and stop them and sink the ship and stop them from ever getting where they're supposed to go. But before that can happen, Kagero shows up and kind of announces herself in town. But shortly after that, here's when we think everybody's going to kind of come in on her. The cavalry comes in. Donald Trump comes in with all his guys, and he's just like, "Don't worry, we've got the city surrounded." And as she kind of turns around to be like, hey, like, you guys are in for some shit now. She did the ultimate betrayal. Top 10 anime betrayals right here. He stabs her right in the back and transforms, and it turns out it's been Genma the whole time. He's like, I killed this dude 2 days ago. Like, which again kind of explains why he was being such a cold asshole, like in these past scenes, and even at the beginning was just like, no, don't look into it. Wait a second. On second thought, go check into that. Yeah. But don't tell anybody about it. So he's been trying to keep a lid on this and keep anybody from finding out about this gold that he wants for himself. But
which is some sadistic shit, because he could have flipped all that shit by himself. But he was like, nah, I'm gonna have y'all go out there and fuck yourselves and make it look, which is a much cleaner look for him versus, doing it all himself, which he easily could have done too. Absolutely.
But Jubei, waiting in his spot to sneak on the ship, sees Kagero go down and fucking loses it, and just charges in and just starts mowing everybody down. Like, that they do that. They keep going back to that shot of like the pan of all the ninjas with just like the blood spray.
It kept doing 3 panels like.
He's making his way through town, just like going crazy on all these ninjas, and the old man meanwhile is just like, oh shit, like, all right, I guess I gotta sneak on the ship. We do see, it seems like he does kind of have the ability to stretch his arms or something like that. Did you guys notice that?
Yeah, he was holding on in the water kind of.
But he manages to sneak on board the ship while Jubei is fighting his way through town, and while he's fighting, he gets into this one like dark house where the second in command for the Devils is there waiting for him and ties him up and has him strung up and is electrocuting him. And it seems like it's a wrap for Jubei at that point. Like, it doesn't seem like he's going to be able to get out of it when this rat like crawls out from around the corner, like turns itself over. Turns out it's been sewn shut, just like that other dude was earlier, and it was a trap for both of them as the rat explodes, and Jubei just manages barely to get out of the window, while the other guy is just totally just erupts in flame. And the other
they've been killing each other off.
They do.
A few of them.
Well, I mean, it was that girl that tried to fucking throw it at him at the beginning of the movie, and he was just like, "Nah, get the fuck out of here." And she's just like, "All right, turn me down. Like, I'll blow your ass up." Like, she's just like, oh, you should have been paying attention. Sorry, And they're on the ship, just kind of waving at the shore, and it's just her and Genma now at this point. All the other devils have been killed off, and it seems like they're about to get away with their plan, like scot free. Jubei, meanwhile, takes a moment to stop down and talk with Kagero, who admits that she fell in love with him but didn't want to admit it, and that's why that they are in this whole situation. Because like if she just could have admitted it, maybe their time could have been special and it would have saved him. I don't know, but she's having her moment at the end, and they share a kiss, which is enough to fight the poison off and save him. And Jubei goes to the ship to finish the deal, to finish his job that he's been hired for.
He sends her floating into the river, right?
What's that?
He sends her floating into the river, right?
Yeah, he puts her on a boat and sends her off, and then jumps on a horse.
That was sad. That was legit sad.
Yeah,
it kind of reminded me of something of Game of Thrones.
What did it remind you of?
That was a callback that only
I'm just like
watch. Remember?
Oh, that's right.
And then Robin didn't give you the reaction that you wanted.
Hey man, the two of us and like the rest of America, man. Like Game of Thrones was a fucking phenomenon when that shit was on. Don't try to tell me we were the only.
I know you over here trying to shame us for watching Game of Thrones that y'all haven't seen it. Like everybody,
so we're in the minority here.
By far, and you both know it.
Definitely, I know. Yeah, for sure. But
thank you, Ice.
Your audience.
Keenan's just on one today. He's like, so we're the minority one. Like, yes. Yes.
I know. I didn't say we was. I'm just saying. I guess we're the minority.
I guess so. But
Tony Baker hand.
But back on the ship, Genma is talking with the leader of the ninjas, who's just like, hey, like, the Devils, you guys did some great work out there. Like, we got enough gold now. We can get like all kinds of weapons from like Europe, get some guns and stuff. Then we're gonna be like way overarmed in this fight against the Tokugawa clan, or I forget exactly, but they're gonna overthrow the government and install themselves back in. And Genma is just like, nah, I don't think so. I think I'm gonna take all this shit. I'm gonna start my own clan full of badass badass fucking ninjas, and that's what I'm gonna do with this gold. And I think I'm gonna be the dark shogun. Yeah, that was pretty expected. But he holds that he takes that dude by the throat and just like throws him off the fucking boat. And meanwhile, the old man is
leader. My whole thing is, you're gonna be the leader of all of this. You got to have some type of power of your own. Like, dude had no power. He was just a regular ass ninja, just the head of the ninjas. It's like, bro, you don't stand a chance. Like, I'm not even gonna hire no people like that or work with no people like that if they got powers and I don't. Like, this ain't no. It's some. I don't know. I can't even think of a movie right now where they got a collar on you and they're not gonna control your shit. If it's something like that, then cool. But if it's not, then like some Broly type of shit where I can control the power. But if I can't, then it's like, fam, I'm not doing business with y'all.
Yeah, no, I totally feel that because he got, as soon as there was a question about who was in charge, he was outgunned immediately. Yeah. Like, he had no chance. But meanwhile, after Genma has his coup, he down in the belly of the ship, the old man finds all the gold and is like rigging the ship to blow. And when he gets discovered by the gunpowder girl, and he throws this like gourd at her, and she chops it, and it just like a bunch of what must be like gasoline or some sort of oil covers her, and he's about to drop a candle to light her on fire when she puts it out with, I think, a knife or a dart or something. And it seems like, old man's in trouble when from right behind her, Jubei's just like, hey, like somebody else is on this ship, and drops the lit candle and everything goes up. And
that was dope. That was dope.
That was cool. They kind of made me laugh too. Like, is with the next shot when they come up, they cut to Genma, who literally has just had his like whole plan come to fruition, and he's just like meditating in the dark, and like 2 seconds later, the fucking ship fucking explodes. And he's gotta be like,
he's just sitting there like, bro.
I just got this shit.
Yeah, exactly. I didn't even like actually physically see the gold. Like, I hadn't even.
Oh, he gonna see the gold.
Yeah. He tells his men, he's like, all right, tell everybody get out the ship, go hide, and wait for my word. He's just like, he's having a bad first day. This is like, maybe Brennan, like, you can send him a book on leadership, because this shit is not going well. So he heads down to try and take care of that problem. Old man and Jubei are down there, and the old man basically takes off. I thought he got caught up in the explosion at first. But Jubei is trying to make his way off the ship when Genma lands down there. And, I mean, these two got something to settle. And they go right into the fucking fight. And Genma is...
You saw everything's on fire, too, which is so dope that they just set the
flames.
Tone. Yeah.
The flames look so dope.
Yeah, that shit
like,
was
I'm just picturing that time frame. That's what I'm picturing the whole time. It's like, damn, this is like great for this time frame.
Yeah.
And it's still good now, too.
Yeah, for sure. No, this was a really cool place to have that final fight. And they saved, I feel like, a lot of the stops for this one, because like Jubei's getting his ass kicked at first, and it seems like it's gonna be a Kano moment.
He's
for
not
him.
getting his ass kicked. He's getting fucked.
It was almost a Kano. It
was almost a Kano.
I don't know. It was like you playing a fighting game and somebody's controller died. Like, that's what the fuck was going on, because he was just like hit him like 15 times.
This reminded me of like fucking Brennan on Z Fighters, just like with the combos and shit. When I was playing Brennan Z, I was like, fuck! Leave me alone, man.
Yeah,
you can beat him in Marvel vs. Capcom though, right?
I can smash him in that, but fucking what's the name? I can't. It wasn't even
like I
close.
said, if it's on an arcade stick, I give the
Stop
credit.
making excuses, bro. You getting your ass whooped.
I'm giving you the credit. You beat me on the arcade sticks. If I had a controller, you wouldn't be able to touch me. Just like in Z Fighters.
You could. So Keenan, would you be able to beat him if you had a controller in Marvel vs. Capcom?
He's getting destroyed either way.
I mean, would you put anything on that? Because we're being recorded right now, and I bet on that.
I don't care.
I'm just saying, I'll put money on it. Like, that's for me. I get close enough to beating you on an arcade that I don't know how to do. So for me, if you give me a controller,
do not get close enough to beating me on an arcade.
I have beaten you before.
You lost over like 15, 20 times.
Damn.
But I've beaten you like 5-6 times, which means that
you're
not
like once or twice.
I got 50 on Keenan.
It's not a good ratio.
I got 50 on
who you
Keenan.
been at?
I got 50
you got
on
50
Keenan.
50 on Keenan? I'll take that. I'll take the bet with you, Ice. So, Keenan, you want to play?
It's whatever, bro.
All right, I'll make it happen. I want your money. I'll take your bet, Ice. You want to bet, Keenan? Because I'll bet you too. I'll bet you 50 as well. You want to do that?
Bro, you having excuses like you can only play on the controller.
No, I just said I'm better at the controller.
Take your L.
I admit
everywhere.
my L. I admit my L, and I just don't know how to play on an arcade joystick. It's very different. It's using your whole hand versus your thumb. But you can go ahead and act like it's an excuse. Why don't you just play me and show me that I'm wrong?
I already said I'll play you. Why you keep bringing this up?
We out here then. We gonna do it as we work. Continue with the podcast, gentlemen.
So they're having this fight. And Jubei's getting, he's real pissed because he is getting comboed up. But he's fighting back. He ends up like headbutting this dude into the fucking ground, caving his head in, and fucking his head comes back. Like it just like blows back up like a balloon, like nothing ever happened. He pins him up against the wall. Jubei cuts his arm back off. He picks that arm back out, slaps it back on. He's got like everything that Jubei can throw at this dude. He's got an answer for it. Like this dude he's got talent, and he's just like, what are you going to do? Like, I can heal from everything. There's nothing you can do to kill me. And Jubei at that point, like, stabs him in the stomach and just, like, fucking cuts him all the way up, like, unzips the dude from, like, belly button to the top of his head. And
I love this scene because all the swords fight, especially, my favorite Trunks, it's never this graphic.
No.
It's always like a clean cut in half. It's like a break. It's not they just kind of like split to the side. No, you saw flesh getting sliced up. Yeah. And I was like, all right, this was dope to me.
Yeah, it was that good middle ground too, because sometimes they do it on the other end where it's like so much blood that they get away from the detail of it. So it's just like cut. But then there's like, no, you're gonna see, you don't see us cut through. You don't see us cut his ass.
Yeah.
And so he does cut him all the way up, and Genma's on the ground, like his head like is like a little bit off, and it starts to form back together. And just as Jubei is climbing out of that part of the ship, a whole huge wave of all the melted gold just comes through that part of the ship and just buries Genma in it. And Genma starts to try to like swim out of it and grab Jubei by his leg, and Jubei just cuts that fucking arm off and continues to climb. And
I thought he was gonna cut his own leg off.
That would have been crazy. Yeah, that would have been crazy.
Like, you know what? Fuck this.
I'm just curious. Like, is his healing factor like Wolverine level? Because like
Wolverine.
It seems to be.
I mean, I don't know. Wolverine, I've never seen, like, only time I've ever seen Wolverine die is when they had to remove his healing factor for him to be killed.
No, Magneto killed him too when he took all the antimanium out of his body.
I didn't kill him. I thought it just like made him super like
in the comic book
punched over.
No, it fucked him up.
I thought it certainly fucking hurt.
No,
I don't know. I don't remember it killing him, but
I'll find it.
I'm also not certain though.
Yeah, I found it. He fucked Wolverine ass up.
But yeah, I mean, it's definitely on the same. Like, are you saying that Genma has more or less, Brennan?
It was a question. Like, I don't know. I mean,
he's
my
more
man
Deadpool than Wolverine.
He took a sword right down the middle of his, like, Deadpool, Wolverine, and Genma. Like, I feel like they're all probably equal. It's like if you put the three of them in the urn as like the, you know what I'm saying, like to like fight to the death, it's never gonna end. It's never gonna end.
I don't think Wolverine's been chopped up like that though. I haven't seen it. Him get chopped up. You've seen Deadpool get chopped up and get pieced back together. I've never seen Wolverine get pieced back together.
Wolverine did do that once in Wolverine versus Hulk. Hulk tore him in half and threw his legs one way and the top half the other way. And then Wolverine crawled back to his legs, and the Hulk is sitting there, and he's just like, listen, man, I don't want to have to do this, but if you don't want to stop this fight, I'm going to eat one of your legs. And then, anyway, without giving away, like, obviously a lot happens after that, but there's more fight after that, but that time Hulk fucked him up pretty bad. And he ends up coming back from it, so he's all right. But yeah, no, but regardless of healing factor, you could have Wolverine get into a situation like this that would be fucking awful, like just a waking nightmare as the ship is going down, and now Genma is just encased in this hardened gold, sinking to the bottom of the ocean. And whether he's alive or not in there, I wouldn't want to be in that situation.
Who was that in Star Wars that got encased in some shit and they just like this?
Oh, Han Solo?
Yeah.
Yeah, but he came back. He did come back from that. Genma does not come in.
Yeah, We don't know. I think there's a Blaze. I think there's a what's the name? A part 2, and there's a TV show.
Oh shit! Well, maybe he does. So and I don't know, but it seems like that's at least a wrap on him for the picture. And so as it's all going down, like they're in the wreckage, and Jubei finds the old man, and the old man like talks a bunch of shit right here, just kind of like, oh yeah, I puppet stringed everything, like I just went exactly as I planned, like I planned for you two to fall in love and all this shit, and Jubei's just like, listen, I don't want to see you ever again. Like, yeah. And the old man is like, oh, well, you can meet me in this other town, like, to get your payment. And it turns out when he's on his own, that was just going to be his excuse to when he met him there. He was going to try to kill him, just try to, like, make it seem like it was all his doing, that he did this all by himself. But Jubei manages to survive and crawl off towards the shore. And
No. Let's not forget. Thank you. He slices the gold bar out of it. Yeah.
That's right. Yeah, because the old man was going to steal some shit. That's right. So
which I'm not mad at.
No, fuck that old man. Fuck that old man. He sucks.
No, I'm just saying, if you were there on that ship and escaped, wouldn't you have been like, well, I'm going to take one of these gold bars?
Well, yeah, that's true. But after I slice the gold out of him, I'm killing him. After all this shit, I'm killing that old man. He's dying. He's not getting out of this shit.
Yeah, he sucks. If I were Jubei, I'd be pissed. He didn't help me at all.
Not at all.
Actually, he did save it. No, he saved his life.
What point?
In the pool, in the hot springs.
Ninja Star. Yeah, in the hot springs. He was dead without that Ninja Star.
He saved him and then poisoned him and then roped him into that whole fucking job.
If he wasn't there, Jubei didn't even have a story to tell.
He was dead. Shit.
I don't know. If Jubei doesn't get the win on killing that bee dude, I'm not giving old man the win on saving Jubei.
No, he got the win. That's a Keenan argument. That's a Keenan argument.
Keenan's, I don't know. He on his Simon Cowell over there.
But Jubei then, picks up his sword, and just like the movie started, it ends with him walking off into the sunset, a Ronin on the road to his next adventure. Roll credits.
All right, so Rob, you was already going, man. What's your take on it?
I think I mostly liked this. I had a good time watching it.
I like that you said I think.
It's just like it falls into that same territory of kind of like Kill la Kill, where I'm like, I enjoyed it. I don't know that I'd recommend it necessarily, just because of all of the baggage it comes with it's just. It's got great action. I think for the most part, the animation is fun to watch. The story is pretty good. It's got a lot of problematic relationships with how it treats its women. To be honest, every one of them is defined by their relationship to men and their sexuality, which is not great. But I don't know. Overall, I'd say I can see why it's a classic. I can see why people bring it up. And I don't know. Personally, I would give it 67.50. That's where I'm at.
Okay. Nice.
I liked it. I enjoyed it. I feel like Rob touched on it a little bit and early on in the podcast, is that like their attempt to have a woman hero was trash. I feel like they really dropped the ball on that. They could have gave her more. They put her in the spotlight. She carried her weight in a sense, but at the same time, she really didn't. She was only there for just to keep the story together. I feel like that was really her main part. Is like, okay, let's get you from point A to point A. B. He has this poison, but who's going to be this antidote? Oh, this woman that just so happens can be poison. That has poison in her, and then can beat the antidote. So I feel like it did. Parts of this age well from animation standpoint. It stands up. It holds the test of time. It's not one of those things that you feel like a Yu Yu Hakusho or the first version of Hunter x Hunter, where it's like, oh man, this is fucking brutal to watch. Like you can, it's good to watch in 2020. You can see the heavy influences that it has on different animes, and you can see multiple people at some point just watching this anime. I'm like, oh, there's so many people that made something and was like, I'm going to create an anime. Some person, whoever was watching Goblin Slayer was like, I'm watching this, I'm going to take the goblin rate from this. Then whoever was watching Naruto was like, damn, this dude can make shadow clones of himself, I'm going to use that in my anime. And then somebody that's watching fucking Hunter is just be like, oh, somebody that has poison in them, I'm going to take that. Like, you can see how this birthed so many animes, and I'm not like a Brendan that reads into like interviews and other stuff from other people from that perspective, but I'm sure if you go back and look at like some of our favorite animes and the people who created them, I'm sure they would mention Ninja Scrolls as an influence, because it's damn near straightforward. Like, it's very prevalent throughout that. I can enlist at least 10 animes that got their influence from this, that came after Ninja Scrolls. Overall, like I said, the women part kind of downed it for me, but I did enjoy this. I enjoyed the colors. I enjoyed the direction of it and how they played with different visual effects. So it was a 7,000 for me.
Brennan?
Wow. I don't think this might be the first time that Ice's rating is higher than Rob's. Maybe except for Evangelion. Maybe that's the only other time.
No, I don't think so. I think I rated that higher than Ice.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
No, wait. I'm sorry. I thought that
was Rob's pick.
Yeah, I apologize. I thought about that opposite ways. I enjoyed it. I mean, everything that Rob and Ice said so far, like I agree with. Is that this is definitely a foundational anime that led the way for a lot of different types of anime, like Samurai 7. And things like that. Because, I mean, for me, I actually just love the baseline premise. Like, yo, there's 8 badasses and a samurai or a ninja, and he got to go kill them all. Like, for me, I'm like, okay, what are these badasses? Oh, they're demons. Like, oh, okay, they each have different powers, but they don't really get along. And it's just like, oh, what powers do they have? It's like, oh, this woman blows things up, and this guy has the bees. And it's just like, I love that kind of shit. I love it. And so, for me, I was just like, all right, this is dope. The action was dope. I actually was more taken back by the artwork. More than anything else. Is like there's so many frames in this movie that I would make into posters. Yeah. Whether it just be the horses riding up the side of a hill with like the red background, or just even some of the action scenes. But a lot of it was a lot of the transitional scenes. They really spent time on each and every single frame of this piece.
What was the budget on this?
I can know in a second. But I think that actually I'm gonna finish my thing a while after Keenan's done. I'll have the budget. But I really enjoyed it. I thought that it was fun. I thought that it was not, a lot of things didn't age well, as Rob has pointed out. The sexism was extremely rampant, but that's something that we find in anime as a whole in general. Yeah, man, the one thing I'd say they didn't do a really good job of is developing the main character. Because we didn't really learn anything about him. Our main protagonist, like, he didn't really have a personality outside of, I don't want to be here. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, I don't want to be here. I guess I'm dealing with this. I guess I like you. Fine. Like, he was just like apathetic to everything. He didn't want to do anything. And it's just like the only time he cared about anything is when he saw the guy he already killed before. Like, how are you alive? I'm really mad. Fuck everything. I'm going to kill you.
I mean, he did go back and get homegirl.
That's what I'm saying.
He was mad when she got cut down.
He had progression.
I know. I just like, I don't know how to describe my man, is my point. It's just like, I think she had more personality than he did. I think the old man had more personality than he did.
I think it's like a mob thing. Like, at least the first season of Mob was just like a very slight uptick of emotion, as far as, until he gets busy.
Yeah. So I'm gonna split the difference between you guys. I'm gonna call it like a 6,800 or 6,850. Because I enjoyed it. It's not the greatest thing I've ever seen, but I do understand why it's a classic, and I do understand for the time that it came out how important and instrumental it was to be able to build on an anime moving forward after it.
I'd rather watch this than Akira. I'll say that much.
I agree with that.
That's the question I'm going to ask at the end. All right. Yeah, I mean, y'all pretty much said the majority of it. I had some questions. I was just like, how did he become immortal? Did they ever state that at all?
No, and then he only transformed that one time, too. Yeah. So they didn't really explain that.
That was my thing. I was just like, all right, I think they forgot to probably add that or wrap that up, because that's a big thing, I think, that how somebody just became a fucking immortal.
Yeah. Because they said it a little bit, but it's like, it's impossible. You got to concentrate on every single piece of your body, every single bone. He said the old dude talked about it, but they didn't say how he specifically got that.
Yeah, at that point, they should have had a scene where they showed him, like, I had to do all this, and this is why I came to come back to kill you, or something, like, so.
Yeah.
I mean, overall, like you guys said, the animation, I think, was incredible for the time being. This is honestly, a lot of people was hitting me even before I suggested this. They keep asking the same thing about the anime podcast. You watch Ninja Scroll, and I had seen it, like, years and years ago, and it was like, this is their introduction. A lot of people's introduction, from what I know, is either Dragon Ball, so a lot of people Naruto, Ninja Scroll, or something like that. And I think it held up. Like you said, it's one of those things, like, when you watch I was trying to get through season 2 of Yu Yu Hakusho, and I was like, fuck, man, this animation's just rough, man.
It's like playing a PlayStation 1 game. It's like, man, this is fun, but fuck, man, like
it's just So I think somebody said watch like the Yu Yu Hakusho movie or something like that, and it's just better. But I think I feel like even with the girl, I feel like they just used her as a love interest to string her along as that, and I feel like she was doper than that. I feel like I feel like she had the potential to be just as dope as him, or possibly better for her intangibles.
She had the J Leno chin going. That shit made me mad. How she was drawn.
Yeah, and we understand the sexism and anime just in general is just fucking trash. We understand that. But overall, I enjoyed it. I feel like it had no real slow points. I feel like it kept me going from the beginning all the way to the end. I give this a 7,200 overall, which is I guess it's not too far off. But I would recommend it in the sense of like if you want to watch a classic anime. But I would preface it with that. Hey man, they got some kind of wild scenes in here sexually.
Watch it by yourself.
Yeah, or like if you gotta like, because I'm always like when some women ask me about animes that I should suggest, and I'm always kind of like, all right, a lot of this shit I kind of try to ask like, hey, how are you with certain things? Because a lot of anime is like this. They're like, oh, I understand it. I understand what it is, and I'll watch it regardless.
Okay.
So yeah, I would recommend it. But I think that was a good point that I brought up about Akira. Like, what movie do y'all think is better? What movie do y'all think is better?
I know Akira had I can't find the budget, but what I did find is that Akira actually had a much bigger budget than this. And I mean, even when there was a lot of scenes in this movie where they were trying to avoid showing action. Like, for example, when all the ninjas were attacking the main protagonist, they didn't show the fighting. You just heard it, and then you just see bodies of ninjas. As pass-throughs instead of seeing him cut up all those ninjas, which was a cool way to do it. But you got to imagine, like, the reason they did that was because they're like, we got to save the budget.
And that's why they had that 3-panel thing that we were talking about earlier when he fought.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think that I just enjoyed the movie more. I just enjoyed the storyline and the movie more of this than Akira. So I would rather watch Ninja Scrolls than Akira any day.
Okay. What about you, Rob?
Well, I think this is definitely an easier watch than Akira. Akira, I think, looks better. And personally, I like the story of the book of Akira way more. The movie is definitely just a disappointment for me in general because of how it handles the original material. I guess I'd probably watch this first, just because, like I said, it's an easier watch. But I think I might still like Akira better, personally.
But the anime strictly, though. Like, because I think the book, because you said the book is great, and I still think like even the relationships between the characters in the movie are still more dynamic and interesting to me than what this movie presented. The action in this is a lot more fun, and it's an easier watch. Like if I'm going to throw something on, like this is cool because like every 5 or so minutes I can be like, oh, cool fight scene. Like Akira, like I'm not going to put that on in the background for light viewing. You know what I mean? So I'm more likely to like probably put this on, I guess, just I'm like, oh, I want to watch some cool fight scenes. Like I'm not probably going to Google Akira stuff, but I would probably recommend Akira. I would probably recommend Akira over this personally. Really
interesting.
Wow. I mean, necessarily, I wouldn't, just because I think it's go back to what Keenan was talking about too. It's like who we recommending it to, and if this is a casual introduction to anime, because Akira does have his sexist and kind of misogynistic
for sure
moments in there as well, especially when they ripped the homegirl's shirt off and like fucking punched her ass. It was like titties throughout that one as well. But I feel like you go through this. It's a good looking movie, but it's like you go through this labyrinth of what the fuck is going on, and then at the end you're like, yo, what the fuck is going on? And you just feel like that throughout the whole movie, and there's no really payoff. So I think with this one, it's like it gives you the story, it gives you the players, they get after it, and then there's a button at the end. It's like cool, like we know what, like it's like you said, it's easy to watch, it's easy to consume, but it's like you get the payoff at the end. I feel like with Akira, it's like, we going dumb with the budget, but it's like we not giving you nothing at the end. It's like what were we here for this whole time? And then you just trying to figure it out. And then if somebody, that's my first time watching anime, I'll be like, I'm like, what the fuck? And I have, a bunch of anime under my belt. Somebody that's their first time watching something, they be like, yo, what was that? Like, the fuck is that big ass teddy bear coming and out of here from? Like, what is going on? You know, so I feel like between the two, I would definitely pick Ninja Scrolls.
What about you?